about breakups, love, and pop culture. I'm Isabella Shields.
And I'm Benmakhlouf.
In the next episode, I'll be joined by a couple of guests to talk about Bridget Jones Diary and recommend some books and music to help you cope with heartbreak. But in this episode, we're focusing on the upside of breaking up and answering agony aunt questions that you've emailed and DM'd in. So, how are you doing, Adam?
Good. Yeah. Always talking about the same things on this. Just went for a run. Yeah. Busy with lots of exciting other projects. We just had a long chat about artist moving image before we started this podcast, which was nice. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of that. Yeah, doing some writing for nice publications. Yeah, so just on it. Board meetings this week. That was the theme of this week. Presenting to a board and then being the board in a different place. So it was it's a very busy week.
I've come dressed as a professional, even though I've had basically no professional undertakings this week. But it's been super fucking hot. It's been roasting. And I'm trying to finally hit the balance of tanning and not burning as a formerly extremely pale person. Because I feel like with platinum blonde hair, the only ways you can go are tanned or white, completely white, lily white.
You look very healthy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mostly eat toasties, but
it's working.
It is. Shout out to Deanston Bakery, the source of all my toasty toast.
They kept open and I loved it.
Oh my god!
Way through this.
Yeah, I've been going twice a week. That's been my biggest shops and basically my biggest social time through the whole of COVID. But it's been nice to go and sit in the park with everybody a lot. But
that's really good.
We're talking about some less nice things, but we're going to try and make them better for people. Also, I just wanted to say, it was really nice that someone messaged the podcast this week to say that they saw our poster in iCafe and it meant a lot to them. And they're going through a COVID breakup. And I just thought that was really, really nice.
I love that.
That's
too. So nice.
You can catch us on Instagram at Breaking Up Podcast. And if you just want to talk to us, we're kind of around. I'm definitely around. But also really, really, really nice reviews on Apple Podcasts. And if anyone has a little bit of time to just fling one over, that's really, really nice.
Fabulous.
But are you ready for some big bad agony aunt questions?
I'm ready. I can do this.
I can do it. The first one's quite short and sweet. What's the protocol with hugging and breaking up?
So, I guess it's weird to kind of flip the switch straight to social distancing. No, in any circumstances. The first image that comes to mind is Phoebe hugging Janice in Friends as she breaks up with her for Chandler, and it's nice. It's a little bump. I think, be quite objective about it, but it cushions the blow. Surely, don't know, but there is a kind of line in the sand that has to happen at some point now. I think. Yeah,
I think one thing that I always worry about is what if they don't stop hugging me?
Oh yeah,
and they just crush me like a bear in their arms.
To dust.
Pulverized rib cage. But no, I think it's nice. I think you need to do a couple of them. But then I kind of do think it's quite healthy to have distance and have a bit of a wall up to show the transition. I think it's nice to have a hug at the end.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not that deep a breakup. If it's more one of my breakups and it's 3-4 months, I think it's good to denote the change of pace.
Yeah.
Being a bit more chilly with them.
Oh, and also I feel as in some situations you can just kind of be should we hug? Just verbalize it. Have a bit I don't really know what to do. And then just if you have a little edgy in, and then I think another person might just not want to. I think sometimes I get a bit frigid when I feel my pride's been hurt. I'm just a bit don't want to hug, I don't need a hug. Stop asking me if I want a hug. Right? Why do you want that? Just stay away from me. Baddie. Which isn't that healthy, but sometimes you just got to roll with it.
Also, I think that's more healthy than being like, oh, I just want to like hold you forever. Like this breakup's gonna end with us like in a long and lasting embrace that's like never gonna stop, and everything's so like loaded with meaning. And I think it's a healthy response if someone's like, I don't love you anymore, I don't fancy you, to be like, then don't hug me. Then like don't offer me physical affection.
Yeah. But flash forward, you've been broken up, it's been 4 months, you're at a social situation, you're in a circle of friends that have just encountered your ex, and everyone is now doing the round of hugs. Do you go into it? Do you try and avoid the situation? Do you just like do a hug when you don't necessarily feel like it's appropriate? Just to kind of avoid the drama?
Hug no one.
But like you've arrived. So this is a real situation. You've arrived with a posse. Mm-hmm. Your ex is there.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, hello. So lovely to see you. And everyone starts hugging. And then you kind of do a round robin. And you just know that it's not the right thing to do, but you also know being a bit like, we mustn't. Is also a bit high key. Mm. I would kind of, from having done the other way and it being like quite heavy.
Yeah.
And could have avoided it. I would advise just kind of like, you know, I don't know, do you bow or something? You just kind of like nod. A curtsy.
Yeah, I think a curtsy sounds good. I think like a little, like, you know, when you like pop your heel. I just think do that, keep it light. Like Princess Diaries heel pop. No, I think my default in that situation would just be to not hug anyone.
Yeah.
I just like
for
really,
a while.
like, chill it down. Yeah. And just like, just kind of say hello from a distance. I'm not like that huggy a person. Like I'm not an automatic hugger in life.
Yeah.
So COVID's been quite easy for me.
Yes, and I think COVID has been a real gift for this exact problem, which is you just don't hug anyone now, and it's fine. And you just, I suppose it's that thing, because if you want to hug someone, you can just convey that you want to hug them and do a little mime. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, this is a funny world we live in now.
Yeah.
How are you?
I think I'm more of a goodbye hugger than a hello hugger.
Yeah. Because you remember why you like someone by that time.
Yes. So that way, if you remember you don't like someone and you don't want to hug them, you can just do a little, like, I'm a big fan of, like, an almost like a scout salute. You know what I mean? To be like, but I think...
Okay.
I think my default in that situation would just be, like, not hug anyone. If everyone's already hugging you, I just think you have to go for it and, like, hug them. And then if they're like, oh, sorry, you can just be like, oh, no problem. Even if you're like, oh, my body.
Isabella, they're coming towards you. They're going in for the hug. You've got 0.5 seconds to take action. You don't have a lot of reasoning time. You're trying to curtsy and they just won't see it.
I'm just imagining, like, you know, in like sitcoms, basically, when someone comes with like arms fully open and the other person like wriggles under the arm, like a little like, head bob and out. That's what I'm like hoping for and imagining in this situation. But
You faint.
Oh my god, faint away.
Yeah, I mean, no one in life has ever actually fainted. It's for these situations when you have to just vacate the moment and you have to just be horizontal on the ground and no longer exist.
Yeah, there's a great
so you just fake a faint.
In Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, one of the first things that happen is that he explains that if someone's talking to you about something you don't want to talk about, you can just enter a subhuman state. Just be like, oh, and just like make a sort of noise and like roll away because he does it to his mum. Like, I feel like maybe that's the occasion for this.
Yeah, try it out. Get creative.
No, I think you just have to hug.
Make it happen.
Unfortunately, like social mores dictate that you just have to be in that person's embrace for a while, unfortunately.
Yeah, nothing bad's gonna really happen.
No,
It's
and
just
also
cleaner otherwise,
it doesn't have to be a nice hug.
Yeah.
You can basically just like
Pinch them. Could be a mean hug. Could burp and blow it into their ear. We're all for not nice hugs. Send in your not nice hugs to us. See how they go. Try it with your family. Do they still love you? Test that love.
Start teaching people real lessons with that.
Real life skills. Always be ready for a bite. I learned that the hard way. You think you're just loving your life and someone bites you in the chin. Friendship breakup 2016.
If you were gonna bite an ex in a hug, where would you bite?
Somewhere non-erotic.
Yeah,
Shoulder
obviously.
bone. Go for bone.
Straight on bone.
Not going to get the wrong idea with a bone bite.
I think, like, as a sneaky one, because I'm smaller, go, like, over the shoulder and, like, at that quite sensitive bit. Like, like, Vulcan death grip. Just, like, getting it, like, the meat.
Make them faint.
Yeah,
that's
make
them
drop. But I think if you don't feel like a bite, if you don't want to take a big gnaw of an ex, you just need to like do quite a cold dead fish hug.
Yeah, don't like lay the side of your face on them and squeeze them.
No.
Just like light hug, social.
An upright head hug. I'd keep my head as upright as possible.
Yeah, I feel like it's the kind of situation where, like, imagine you're at a work gathering and you don't have a physical relationship with a colleague and you've accidentally went in for a hug just because you got comfortable. It's the end of the night and you just have to bring it back. Just do a light one. Don't make it weird.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, one time this is a weird story. I remember hugging someone years ago and it was a kind of very old work situation and they were kind of saying bye to me because I think it was like the last time we were going to work together and I just hugged her so hard. And the thing that made me realise it was like I really felt her like not cleavage, like her breasts like really
squeeze
like,
up.
in. Yeah, I felt them really in. Like I realised I really pushed myself against them. I was much younger, and I think I was trying to convey that like I really appreciated all the learning I'd done in that job. Yeah. And I just went so hard.
I was thinking about traumatic hugs as well, and because I used to swim all the time, I remember once I hugged a boy who I thought was very attractive. Most swimmers are, to be honest. And obviously he was in tiny little shorts, and I was in a swimming costume. And because of my small height, my mouth landed on his nipple.
I've done that before. I've done an open mouth hug and then like really rubbed my teeth and gums against someone's shoulder and just been like, oh, left a little trail, little snail trail.
I've done that with lipstick and it's awful. Like I ruined someone's coat with lipstick once. But then that was her fault because she hugged me. I didn't want a hug. Part of that was because I didn't want a hug. Mm-hmm. But she like clapped me in. Like she was burping a baby. And I just,
and in those situations my therapist would ask, did you want to leave that lipstick on my jacket? I think that was revenge of some kind.
No, because I was worried she was going to send me a dry cleaning bill.
I wish therapists would do that when they just try and insinuate that you really had some like motivation behind something you feel quite bad about that was clumsy. It's like maybe you wanted to smash that priceless heirloom of your friends because you think it's ugly and that's okay. You have to own these feelings.
I hate that. I feel like I was getting gaslit into like my own past.
It reminds me of maybe like, you know, those like scenes in Star Wars when they're trying to like, they've not made it clear that like they are the dark side, but they're just like, discover your regression, harness it, use it to dominate. You have the power, and you're just like, maybe I do want to hurt people for my own gain.
I thought you were going to say Jedi mind tricks to just be like, those are the ones you're looking for, and all that kind of thing. But I'm glad we went really hard the other way and talked about harnessing and dominating people.
Yeah, harness your regression, dominate the world.
Don't hug your ex.
Don't hug your ex.
But I wouldn't ever make a show of being like, I'd rather not hug, thanks.
Oh yeah. Unless that's what you want to bring into your life, you want to have toxic drama.
Oh yeah.
If that's what you want to go for it.
Or if that's a response to toxic drama, if they like cheated on you and gave you syphilis, I think that's a fun time to be like, don't want to hug you, don't want to risk any syphilis.
Fake a call. Sorry. I'll be right back to you. Sorry, folks. Oh God, yeah, just got a package. There you go. Yeah, I think I'll be able to get back in time.
Yeah, he's gonna wait. He's gonna wait for like half an hour outside mine. Oh God, yeah. I think hugging and breaking up, I think it's cool to get a little bit of chilly distance if it's like not that high key a relationship.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
Yeah. And cool it down. It's really healthy.
Yeah.
Make boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's like if it's a longer term thing, get some good hugs in, you know?
Yeah.
Get some nice hugs in. Because hopefully you don't hate each other. And if you do hate each other, then fuck that, don't hug.
Yeah.
If you actually do just hate that person now, then don't hug them, you don't need to.
Mm-hmm. No.
And if you think that you hate someone, but they obviously don't hate you and they're crying at you, you also don't need to hug them. Like one of the big, one thing that happened in a friendship breakup that I had was that I wasn't crying when we were talking about it, and she was like, "Why aren't you crying?" And I was being like, "I don't feel like it," and it was really bizarre. Like, and you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to like meet someone else where they are just because it's going to be easier for them, and maybe make them feel better about like a loss or something like that, because it's not your job.
I can only cry when I feel like 100 out of 100 safe in a situation. So like any time when I feel like compromised or not entirely like comfortable or in a difficult situation, it's really hard for me to cry because it just doesn't happen. It'll be like days later and I'll be like, have a hot chocolate and a blanket around me and I'll be watching Grey's Anatomy and then it'll all come out because it's safe.
Yeah.
But like, I don't get it. I mean, I guess some people just can't control it, but like, it feels pretty ballsy for me, like in situations where, like.
I'm the same as you. I cry a lot when I'm crying, especially if I'm watching something, especially if like I'm just really upset about something. Like, but I find it really difficult to cry in front of people. I was really, really menstrual the other day and I left a work call because I started crying just because I got like a bit overwhelmed with the sheer volume of blood that I was losing. And just felt really awful and felt like I was going to be sick. And then I just started crying and I felt very silly. And but then again, that was with colleagues that I like love and trust. Like I probably wouldn't have done that if I was in a different work environment. I would have said I was going and just like stummed up. But I think it's really, really hard to feel vulnerable, especially if you're like cutting something off, because that's time as well where you've had to like work yourself into this like stoical fortitude to be like, this is done now, like the situation's closed.
I think I have a bit of a theory about it, which I don't think it's this is such a tangent from like hugging to crying. I think people that cry in difficult situations probably were parented in a way that when they cried it made it easier. Whereas I don't remember, but I don't think crying ever really never made things easier.
No, it never yielded like positive results for us.
It was like it just. And you go, sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say like it was just almost a sign that you'd like lost control of something. Like it wasn't, especially because my parents are both lawyers. Like, do you know what I mean? Like emotional outbursts weren't rewarded.
No.
And I think that does carry through. But I do think I can see that if someone like, because I spoke about that little girl that I was like a prefect for, who like walked back in front of me like crying, and then like every time we did that, like every time she did that, I'd give her a hug and like sit down with her. Like I think that kind of is how these things percolate through.
Yeah, I think so. It's like what works for you in hard situations.
Yeah,
and you just kind of get some reinforcement with it.
Because also, like, I know that people have spoken to me about their breakups and just said, like, I was getting broken up with, but, like, he or she just was, like, crying the whole time.
Yeah.
And it felt like I had to take care of that, even though I was the one who was, like, getting hurt. Yeah. Like, especially in situations with cheating, it seems to be, like, the trend is that, like, the cheater just starts crying.
Yeah.
And then the person that's getting cheated on just has to be, like, there, go on then, break up with me.
Well, I just think it's just that thing of, like, this is a whole other topic that's own right about, tears, how to respond to them in a breakup. And I just think it's just that situation that most people think if they cry, it makes them a good person. Because it shows you have, like, feeling, like, visibly, you know, and it just kind of spews out. But, like, I think in a lot of ways, you know, and I also understand that most of the optics we have for evilness do not include people that cry. Like, saints cry. Angels weep for our human condition. But, like, I think so sometimes it feels a bit like the best way to kind of loop yourself into like a vision of goodness was like repentant, like I'm physically repenting but not actually showing any kind of behaviour or action, which you know, and that kind of socially brings us to the idea of like weaponizing tears within call-out situations and stuff as well. It's just like, you know, it's just like doesn't make you good.
It's just a sort of short circuit for things. But then that being said, obviously if you are upset and you are crying about something and you do mean it and it's not a crocodile tears or like a play, which is normally why people cry. These situations where someone's crying to manipulate you are quite rare, I would say. But to come back, to circle back to the question, I'd say hug for a while if you love them and it's a breakup for some other circumstance. And I'd say you don't need to hug someone if you don't feel comfortable hugging.
Even if they're crying.
Even if they're crying, even if they're feeling rubbish. It's not your job. It's not your job anymore. You're breaking up with
You resigned with immediate effect. Bye-bye.
Okay, the next question is, when should you ask someone you met via a dating app if they're interested in getting married and having kids down the line? And depending on their answer, is it reasonable to call things off?
I feel like the context for that is really important. I'm going to let you start actually, because I feel like because you read out the question, I always lead. Or do you want me to keep going?
I don't mind.
Okay. Well, we can shake it up. Okay. I always have opinions, so it's not going to change. Well, it'll be good because I've got mine in mind now, so I'm going to like hold it right, and then I'm going to. It's half formed. I'm sure I'll remember it. Right, you. Okay. Do you want to go?
I think dating apps, I'm not that familiar with them. I think, especially in COVID times, people are going to be talking for longer on dating apps instead of just going to meet up. I think, maybe. I think if you've been talking to someone for like longer than 3 weeks, it's okay to talk about like your future and like how people envision their future and like what they want to do. And I think also that if you've like messaged someone, like if you've been on like 2 COVID dates, 2 or 3, I think it's fine to be like, where do you like see yourself in terms of like marriage and children? Because I don't think it is as like, if you don't want to have fucking kids right now, if you don't want to have them, I'm not interested. But I think it's probably good to know someone's like, oh, I never want kids. Like, I'm hardline on not wanting kids. I'm hardline on like not believing in marriage. I think it's a broken institution. And like, if that doesn't correspond with how you feel and what you want, then just being like, oh, we have different things in mind and like that's kind of okay and we can split ways. I think it's important, because one thing I would always say is that if someone like does not want to have kids, then you shouldn't hang about and wait for them to change their mind. If like that's a high priority for you, like if you one of your things that you want is children, than like being with a partner who you have to like try to convince.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's a good idea.
I think, yeah, I totally see all that, yeah. And I think where I was coming in was just reading the context of like the dating app part of it, and then this super heavy like sense of like, yeah, I think I was kind of struggle with the idea that like someone has a kind of bit of a like mold, and then like once you put like the right person in it, it'll all fit.
Yeah. Because I've said
And
before that I think like
yeah.
Tinder is almost sometimes used for people who like want to be in a relationship more than they want to be in a relationship with the person they're talking to.
Yeah.
Like they're just like kind of like they've gone on like a forum basically to like have a relationship, so you already know the ground you're on.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think, speaking to friends as well, it's easier to just pick someone in the hope that they'll fit a mold, than...
Yeah. I think so. I think that's a real kind of, you know, essentially, and like I think, yeah, coming at it from obviously a queer perspective as well, like it just feels like it just shuts down so many like possible. I guess that's the thing. Like, it reminds me of, you know, that idea in Carol, especially, where it was, you know, she wanted to be a mother, so she kind of like had to get, you know, that husband that she didn't really want and end up really. And I think sometimes it feels hard for me to like in a relationship situation envision someone as like a means to an end, you know, like in any way. And I guess, yeah, I suppose coupledom and like relationships are so often like, it's been, you know, a very long time have been built on that being like the structure of it and the reason for doing it in a lot of ways. But I think at this point, like, we do have more options for how we're going to live our lives and what that's going to look like. And I think, you know, it just means, essentially it just means you kind of shut down the possibility for maybe something really great and like someone that you might really vibe with. And it's just like, I think yeah, obviously if you really want to have a marriage and a family, that's like a vision for life. But I think sometimes just like running at romantic relationships with that in mind, I don't know. Maybe I feel like that's not, you know, she's not asking if it's okay in 2020 to want to get married and have babies and stuff. And I guess it's not my place to answer that, but I just don't think it is anymore. I'm joking when I say that, but like,
are you?
I think mainly it's just. I think it's just. It just makes me feel like, you know, if that's your kind of main like kind of condition for who you're gonna meet and love, it might. But then I guess if you're straight, like it doesn't actually narrow it down that much probably. But like I think, especially like from like a queer perspective, like if you really came at things being like I want to have children and get married, it would just potentially like holding on to that would probably like get in the way of maybe like a really beautiful relationship, because you just kind of hold out for the person that fits that mold again. But I guess, I mean, I don't want to presume anything in this question. This person might be coming at it from a queer perspective and stuff, but like, and I think on both sides it's changed a lot in terms of like, I think in queer communities it's, you know, much more like acceptable and like common for that to be your aspiration. And like I think there's also like a lot of political validity and like claiming space in those institutions, but also at the same time, like I think within like hetero communities, like I think there's a real movement towards being like, I just, you know, I want to kind of do other things with my life beyond marriage, you know, but I might want to have kids, but I don't want to get married because I don't like that, or you know, I want to get married but I don't want to have kids. And there's just, there's and many options beyond that. But in this situation, beyond me kind of injecting myself unnecessarily.
No, that's the whole podcast. The whole podcast is us unnecessarily injecting ourselves in people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
because we like doing that.
Yeah, we love it. We love it.
And it mostly yields good results.
I think so.
Yeah. No, I think what you suggested is a good one, which is just like, it's a part of your identity, it's a part of your personality. And it's not necessarily, because I think that's the scary thing, to be like, I want to have babies in marriage with you. Like, that's how it comes across. But if you're just like, I think that's such an important thing to talk to people about that you're into in a relationship with, which is like, what are your principles and values? What do you want your life to look like?
Yeah.
You know, in the short term and the long term. Now it might change, but like, what do you want? And knowing that's so important in life, like, and kind of being a bit unapologetic about it. So I feel like I think that's good conversation to have. Like, I don't know what else you could talk about really. Like, I think kind of dry chat can just evaporate. Dry chat evaporate. I don't know.
Yeah.
Easy chat, kind of, you run out of it, and I think at some point you do have to talk about the big stuff.
I think so, but I also think like I am so conscious of like the version of this where someone's being told that they're being like a crazy like pre-spinster for being like, do you want to get married and have kids with me like 3 weeks into talking to someone on Tinder. But I think also the other thing is if someone can't objectively be like, oh, you're talking about like what you want for the rest of your life instead of being like, oh, you want to marry me, then like you're not really worth talking to. Like they come off kind of crazy there. But also
like conceited.
Like
whoa, chill out.
I don't want your sperm, but like
we haven't even Zoom called yet.
But I think I don't know, like I think it is kind of important. I'm only 24, as you all know, I bring it up every week. And I think it's really, really low on my list of priorities at the moment to have a child, like very low. And if someone I was talking to was like, oh, I see myself having kids in the next like 3 or 4 years, like that's what I'd ideally like have from a relationship, which I think, I don't know, I go between being like, that's crazy, and being like, if that's what you want, that's what you want. But like I can't imagine a world where I've got kids before I'm 30. I don't know how well that'll suit me. Maybe that'll change. Maybe I'll be like a triple mum by the time I'm 29. But at the moment, that's not what it's looking like. And basically, I'm just thinking that like you need to take people for what they're saying, like in the moment as well. Because someone's like, I'm not sure. And like I don't know, because I don't know. And like I know that I've got friends with like PCOS, and I've got friends with like other sort of reproductive like issues really that are really conscious of the fact that if someone wants to have a baby like that way with them and they can, then it could be like really off-putting to someone, like a prospective partner. But I don't know, then I think like, why do you want to have a child? Do you just want like a little physical reproduction of yourself? Do you not want to adopt? Would you like be averse to like IVF, like, and like a surrogate really? And like you have to kind of think about then what someone's motive for like a pregnancy is in some way, and like what they want to reproduce and what they want to produce like in a relationship. So I think it's like a good way to work out what someone's like.
I think so. And it's a good hot button topic, and like I think everyone kind of has a position on it, even if it is like undecided. And and it's really important to sound that out. And I think it feels very age dependent as well. I think a lot of ways, because like there is a point where you do feel like you might just want your life to look. It's not even like a long term thing. I think once it gets to that point, you know, it feels like you don't have a lot of wiggle room. But if it is just like, one day I want this to happen, I think it's okay to just like, not every relationship has to be your ultimate final one, and going into it like that might, you know, you might miss out on some laughs and some chances to like develop as a person, you know.
Definitely.
And kind of understand yourself better. I think. I know. I feel like I keep kind of. I feel like I'm always like attacking this person's position rather than like answering the question they have.
No.
But I think it is related. Like I think it's just like there's ways to just kind of, you know, have a bit of fun and, you know, be flirty and get nice clothes on and like kind of, you know, have a kind of short-term thing where you kind of get a better insight into what you want that, you know, father and husband to look like beyond, you know, those labels. It's like, actually, I've got some nuance in that now. And I think dating around's a really good way to do that. And you don't necessarily have to all be, you know, husband material. I never say things like that. So
No, but I think it's really, really good to, like, especially if you're going through a breakup, to be like, that person wasn't your final person. Like, it's crazy to think of anyone as the final person, because I know that Maddie Gold and I, who's going to be one of the guests on the Bridget Jones episode, if we do get married, once we're like 60s, 70s, and we've decided that we've no more interest in romantic relationships, we're going to get a barge and sell fish and chips from it. So, like, if anything, Maddie Gold is my final girl. But like, I just think it's really, really good as well to be in these like situations with someone that you do fancy, you do find attractive, to have a conversation where you might disagree. And like just see what they're like when you disagree about something. Because if you really want to get married and have kids, and then someone's like, no, I think it's an outmoded institution, I wouldn't ever want to get married, blah blah blah. Then like if you can't ask them like why, and they can't like explain themselves beyond saying like, oh, it's outmoded institution, and like all that kind of thing, and like hit out with this sort of rhetoric around it. I think it's really important to be able to be like, to hold a conversation, work out like why you feel the way you feel.
I really think so. And I think also just like someone's really attractive. And I mean, I do understand that there's a real kind of, I think the subtext to this is, there's the danger that if like I start to really like someone and it gets down the line, it's just gonna be really painful and unnecessary. But like, I think there are different like emotional levels to take in a relationship, and it's just kind of not feeding the breakup, you know, like kind of being able to understand that as a possibility, as a likelihood, as something you will survive, and like even if you like the person, and sometimes the breakup might just be because of, you know, what's that? It's a kind of divorce term for it. And it's like,
irreconcilable differences.
Yeah. Was that marriage plot? Was that within that? Maybe one, maybe not.
Oh my god, no, do you know what it was about? It was about the sister question that we had a couple of weeks ago, where you said it was fine for people to get off with people who look like their sisters, and now 59% of the people that follow us on Instagram agreed with you. And I think that's insane. And I think you all
well done.
I think you should all be ashamed of yourselves.
Incest visibility.
No. Incest wipeout. No. I'm writing a letter to Pornhub.
You are alienating our base.
59% of you gone.
Come to the secret podcast where we just talk about how sometimes our siblings are attractive, and that's okay.
Exclusively on Patreon.
It's on the dark web.
Oh God. Okay, we do the final question.
Yes. Final question.
Final question. How do you stay?
How do you stay?
How do you stay sane? It's not that funny. How do you stay sane when you're broken up but living together? Or do you want to do the holiday one? Do you want to do the holiday one?
Oh God, we will definitely have to for the holiday one, whatever happens. No spoilers, but it's a simple one. Okay. How do you stay sane?
When you're broken up but living together.
Ooh, yeah. Do you know what? I remember you flagging this a bit and kind of let me know how this came up. And it's a real drag. I mean, how do you stay sane, like, when you're going out with someone and living with them? Like, full stop, that's a question mark. It's like, but it's hard, and it's even harder when you're negotiating, like, oh God. Imagine, like, all the mini arguments that would just, like, go nuclear because you have so much baggage.
Yeah.
And, like, oh, sharing a bed, potentially? Like,
yeah, because that's what one of my friends was talking to me about, like, having to share a bed with someone you are no longer with romantically. And I think that would be awful. I think that would be excruciating. And my default feeling all the time would just be that we should have sex and have a cuddle. Like, I don't know. I think it would be so hard to get that disconnect when you're staying in a bed with someone. Like, impossible.
We've chatted a lot about the trials sometimes of sharing a bed and getting a proper sleep, and they're so real. And the idea of like, yeah, oh God, and like I've got. Do you know what? Going to give me the book, not sharing the bed, sharing the duvet. That's a real situation where like you might just want to get 2 single duvets for a bit. Like you can't be sharing it. Like God, we were talking about hugging earlier on and getting all hit up about that.
Yeah.
About sharing a bed post breakup.
I had a partner that like we had a duvet and a double duvet and then a single duvet because I am a duvet bandit. I'll just roll away.
Yeah.
I just take the whole thing. And then there had to be like a second one because it's so difficult to get me out of the cocoon. His flat was also freezing. His flat was like cartoonishly cold. But
I think that's one very practical solution, which is get a little single duvet. You know? I think it's gonna be lots of little hacks and workaround and ground rules. Like you don't want to get taken by surprise in these things. But it really it's gonna, it's hard. It's a hard thing. Like I think the idea of like all the flatmate tension and the ways that you just like, you have to share space and like share, like sonic space and just like hearing someone talking. Like how are you gonna like phone a friend in that situation and like decompress?
You cannot always go out of the house to make a call. You can't live your whole life like leaving the flat and then coming back. It's not comfortable. It's not fair. But equally, like cause I'd obviously want to talk about my breakup.
Yeah.
And like it's sunny now, but if it's freezing cold and it's the dead of winter or it's just like pouring with rain, like I don't know. I just think it would be awful. And you're totally right about like little blow ups, like. Exponentially increasing and just like really fucking you over, really flattening you. But I think I'd just try and be away as much as possible.
Yeah, find another space that is not weather dependent either. Like that's just
not under a tree. Don't go live under a tree. Don't start camping. But if you
can a little camper. No, we recognise your pain, but that's fine. The image of you going out and camping because you've broken up with your flat.
I'm just imagining like the back close of like a flat, if you know what I mean, like the back garden next to the bin shed. Like,
I'm really imagining this. Sorry.
I was going to say still using the Wi-Fi.
I was seeing like the Wes Anderson directed version of this, of like looking at someone from above and then like panning into their face and then just being like as they heat up their beans at the stove.
No, I can completely see that, and I can completely like envision like the little like the little bindle staffs or whatever they're called, like a stick with a blanket with like a pouch of food in it.
Walking away.
With like
whistling.
Just to the bottom of the garden. Like, I think that may actually be a valid option if you like that kind of thing. But if you're like a normal person who doesn't like camping like me, then I'd say try and find a friend.
Camping is challenging.
Fucking hate camping.
But I think rewarding.
I would only camp again if I could drive my car to the camping site. Because what I don't fucking like about it is that you can't eat anything you want, you can't get a nice shower. There's like, if you do fuck up, like if something floods, you have to walk like 8 kilometers back to where you started. And I hate that. The
time I was camping, it was next to a hotel and a pub, so that was really nice.
That's cheating. Perfect. That's not real
and
camping.
A beach. It was really nice.
Shush.
That worked. That worked very well.
What?
What are we talking about again? Right, you're in this flat and you don't want to be. What are you going to do?
How do you
Ground rules?
Ground rules. Don't talk shit about each other within each other's earshot. Second ground rule: don't have friends over if you're gonna like don't crowd someone out of their flat.
Yeah. Don't have fun social times with your ex. Don't be like, do you want to watch a film?
Yeah.
It's a trigger. Everyone's gonna be triggered.
Yeah. It's gonna be bad for everyone.
Do you want to watch that film we saw that time?
because I probably won't be able to watch it again for a while because it'll make me too sad, so I should just watch it while we're here. But one thing I was going to say was that one of my friends had a situation where a couple broke up from irreconcilable differences, and one of the, like, they're both like refusing to leave the property, in which case I would say whoever paid more stays, and also if someone's been a cunt the whole relationship, they need to fuck off. Like, they need to take accountability, and they need to just
do you know what, just lawyer up. Like, if that's how complicated it's getting, just like don't try and get like arbitrating, you know, with friends, or just like absolutely just go dry. Just be like, okay, what's the reality of the situation? How much have we both contributed? If we kind of like, you know, liquidate this asset, it's the time, like, it's just, that can be such a protective action, you know. And I think I've been talking a lot about like kind of overly emotional responses in different situations, and just like sometimes all you want is the dry, action-based, this is what we have to do list, task list, you know. It just protects you, and like it kind of gives you more space to be emotional in a kind of safe way, if you just don't feel like you have to like perform it, or like it doesn't if it's not like at question in the fairness of a situation, you know. It's just like, no, we know we've got rules around this, you know. If you can't find that with each other, that's kind of when you have to rely on like
literal arbitration. So I'd say, like, if it was a co-owning issue, then I think you both just have to cut your losses and sell, and then divide the assets and like literally just lawyer up. Like, there are a lot of people you can talk to. But if it's just that, like, you have to live together for like a month or so,
so you find the next flat share,
then
it's
just
a bit
try and like
easier,
and just try and avoid each other as much as possible, and just try and like just try and be like civil and don't be a fanny, basically. One of the biggest things, like, don't be a fanny for the sake of it.
I think that's one of the best grid rules, really.
In life.
I also think just be very clear with yourself and with each other about why you're in the situation you're in, and be like, right, we're currently in this kind of like holding pattern because basically I have a job that I can't like move back to my parents and do. You know, I don't have a friend that has a free room just now, and like this is very practical reasons we're doing this, and like let everything, all your interactions, encounters flow from that, and just like, I think that's a really good way to straighten things out. Just like, because you think, you know, I know why we're doing it, but I think reminding yourself sometimes in these situations can really clarify things. And it kind of, because I think it could be so easy just like emotionally flashback and just be on replay and just like, oh, we're in this relationship again. It's like, no, we're not in a relationship, we're in this temporary situation that we both like acquiesced to remain in for a certain amount of time, and like that's what's at play here, you know.
I think that's good advice. Don't be horrible, don't spend all your time together, top and tail in bed. We're doing some topping and tailing, and that's it.
And my catchphrase, be real. Just be real. Just be real.
Be authentic, guys. It's that simple.
Got to be real, as the song goes.
Okay, final question. It's going to be brief.
Okay.
Should you be okay with your partner going on holiday with their ex? There are 2 other people going.
Pause. To dignify the question. Pretend to think. Absolutely not.
No!
No. God bless
fuck.
you for asking, but no.
They're gonna fuck.
And they're gonna really enjoy it.
Yeah, because
it's gonna be bikinis, and I don't know where this holiday's to. I'm going full on package holiday to Lanzarote.
But then, even if it's not a bikini holiday, if it's a ski holiday, everyone's looking nice. Everyone's
so cold.
I need a jacket, and then suddenly everyone's topless, you know. And everyone's getting off in front of fires and furs. Like the alternative to that is like beautiful Italian like landscapes and like summer dresses, and everyone's bronzed and everyone's like eating delicious food and drinking delicious wine and
calling each other by their names.
And also, crucially, making memories that you are not in.
Yeah.
Why aren't you invited?
Yeah.
Why aren't you invited to this holiday?
That's it. Yeah.
Think about it.
Was it like prepaid from like before you were on the scene? Like, it's just being cheap. Is that what this is? It's like paid for it. I kind of feel like a holiday. It's not ideal, but like this is like the willful option of what we just spoke about, which is like when you're stuck in a very intimate situation that is no longer appropriate.
Yeah.
This is like being like, I'm going to enter that for fun. Chosen pain.
Opting in.
Yeah, and like I just feel like I know this is like sometimes this sounds high key, but like now when someone's like, "Is this okay?" Often there are times when I just feel like, don't even ask me that. Like,
no.
I know it's really important to check in and stuff, but sometimes it's like, oh, like just no. Like I think this person, like, it sounds as if they've been like touched base, you know, like they've had their bases touched, and then now they are checking in with us. And in this moment, I would be like, just be like, do you know what, like, no, and also just like, don't put me in the situation where like, if I said it was okay, it was going to be okay. Like, please know why that's not an option.
Yeah,
and I think that's quite harsh, but like,
I know, but if someone's seeking absolution from you for something they've like kind of already decided they're going to do, then they know they're in the wrong. Because if they were like, oh yeah, we're all always friends, it's never going to be an issue, we're all going on holiday together, they're an ex from like 2004, it's been dead for a long time, then you know it's fine.
Yeah.
You know? But don't be a dum-dum.
No, and do you know what? It sounds like you have been brainwashed somehow into thinking that it was an appropriate thing for you to have to be the one to decide whether it's right or not. And just like, I'm sorry that that's a position you're in. And like, you know, maybe it's all fine. Maybe it's dead casual. Maybe they were just like, oh, you know, would this be okay? And sometimes it does feel a bit harsh to be like, don't even ask. But in a situation, you know, you've got room to throw up tantrum if you want.
Yeah, in this situation, don't even ask. You know the answer, mate. You're
just like
it.
The next time they ask, just like silently stand up, walk out the room, closing the door gently, and then walk out the exterior door and just like dingle your keys a little bit, and then just let them hear you go in your car and drive away for good. And then they can go on that holiday they really want to go on. See if they enjoy it then, paying the price. We don't have any listeners anymore. We've lost all the interesting people. We've just like offended all the people that like want to get married and like have, you know, real problems they have about holidays with their partners, and we're just like, shut up, you're stupid. Don't screw your sibling because it's wrong. Don't even come you ask us no such thing as a stupid question except this one.
All the huggers have been alienated. I've told them they're idiots and that they should be avoided.
Oh, we're gonna have to do a formal apology. Dear listeners.
Sorry.
Adam had been recovering from a run in the heat and maybe had heat stroke.
And Isabella had a big wine.
Isabella had a big wine. I'm really sorry for the way it went. There's a bleeped version of it out where all the offensive things are bleeped. It's mostly a bleep noise. But it's synth because synths are beautiful. So, that's a weird in-joke. Yeah, we were just like panning artists that put synth over arts with an image.
Talking about synth being passé. My friend Christopher like rips me constantly for a time when in a tutorial I said that Banksy was passé, and I maintain that. I'm also embarrassed that it happened. But anyway, thank you very, very much for listening. Please don't go.
Yeah.
Please don't leave us.
we have a lot of care for all of our listeners, and like even if we don't always show it, we really feel it.
We still have a lot to offer, you know, and like there's been some really good times, and I think that's important to remember. And if you still want to go, you want to go, and there's nothing I can do to change that. But you know, I still respect you.
Yeah, absolutely. Tune again next week to be insulted. Tune in again next week to be insulted. I said it wrong. But I deserve that. I deserve to be humiliated because I've just been mean today.
But if you want to hear us be mean to you, then you can follow us on Instagram at Breaking Up Podcast. You can email us in some agony aunt questions at breakinguppodcast@gmail.com. If you're another podcaster and you'd like to collaborate in any way, or if you want to send us in some recommendations, etc., you can also email us there. And in support of Black creatives and Black businesses in Glasgow, I just wanted to say to listen to Creative Me podcast by Ika Headlam and support Big Up the Deen. You can also support Calabash Kitchen, Sweetie Sweets, 07 Catering, and Accra Bakery if you can. That's all like delicious things you can consume, so why not consume them?
Can confirm.
Can confirm. I love Calabash Kitchen, and it's great. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Please send us questions. I love getting them. I know we roasted everyone today. It wasn't meant to be a roast. It was meant to be loving, but I think you'll have enjoyed it anyway. Like bunch of masochists listening to this podcast. Oh, for book and music recommendations, I quickly wanted to say my recommendations are Late Night Feelings by Mark Ronson, which is an album that I love, and True Blue, which is his track with Angel Olsen, is amazing. And the book I wanted to recommend, which isn't necessarily a breakup book in the traditional sense, but it's more about like breaking up with your body and like ideology, is The Vegetarian by Han Kang.
Great. What have I got to recommend? I foolishly did a double recommend the last time, as if I was going to keep up with that.
That's fine. We can just. I never do recommendations anymore, so we can just like.
Okay.
Close up mine. Thanks again. Follow us at Breaking Up Podcast. Email us. You know the drill. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Sorry.